I admit that I don't think The Day Before is a real game. Fantastic's highly touted MMO survival shooter set in a zombie apocalypse had a promising premise, but as the release date approaches, without a closer look at the gameplay, it's starting to feel like The Day Before doesn't actually exist. 2 weeks ago, the developer shared a strange update claiming that a trademark dispute over the title would prevent the game from launching on time. I'm sure at that point we'll end up in another blue box, abandoned scenario where the developers pretend to make the game while pushing the release date further and further away. But lo and behold, Fantastic finally gave us a day early last week. Does this prove that this is a real game? I'm still not quite sure. IGN released 10 minutes of gameplay on YouTube last Thursday, where you can see the two characters walking around looting and shooting zombies. These are definitely things that happen in video games, so I'm inclined to think that the previous day was one of them. In the meantime, here's everything that happens in this game trailer. There is an eerie silence about it all, both literally and figuratively. No one speaks in the trailer, there's no music, and the only sounds you hear in the city are the occasional bird chirping and zombie screams. Our hero stumbled upon a cooking station with the loudest elevator music you'll ever hear on the radio, and a store with speakers playing evacuation announcements, but the only accompanying sound during the game was your own footsteps. Likewise, the city itself is barren. The streets were littered with military vehicles and debris, but otherwise deserted. There are no piles of blood, no rotting corpses, no swarms of the dead, and no sign of the millions of people who live and die here. It looks like an empty world in an empty game, giving the impression that this is less of a raw game and more of an alpha shot. Aside from the occasional flashing number of orbs, there's no HUD, nor are there any quest markers or signs that our hero has a goal. Crafting and weapon customization is primitive. I don't know if the other character is another player or an NPC. It looks like a game in screenshots, but in motion it only vaguely resembles the idea of a video game. I've seen other media compare it to The Last of Us and The Division, and I'm generous when I'm generous and delusional when I'm not. It's third person, has zombies, and is set in a city, but that's where the similarities to those games end. The Last of Us is a story about people it doesn't appear to be, and The Division is an RPG it doesn't appear to be either. Zombies don't have a damage count when hit, and they don't have buffs, skill bars, or abilities. At least we haven't seen them yet. Normally, I wouldn't be able to infer that much about a game from just 10 minutes of gameplay, but with everything we've learned about The Day Before, it's hard to ignore the artificiality of it all. Unlike Abandoned, I believe The Day Before is a video game that multiple developers are currently working on. If it weren't for this potential trademark issue, I don't think this is a nearly finished open-world MMO that would be released in March. The game isn't just a virtual space where you can walk through zombies, but as far as we know so far, that was back in the day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and support my channel.